All right, guys. Happy Wednesday. Yeah, it's Wednesday. Finally, I'm able to get done my national recap video. I've watched a lot of them, and I think a lot of the community has. I'm probably the last one in the community to make one of these videos. So I do want to do my best to try to mention all the people that I spoke to and ran into, but I know I'm going to forget people. So if I do, please accept my apology about that. As I kind of go, I'll mention some highlights. I was there Wednesday through Sunday. Usually I do a Wednesday through Saturday and fly out Sunday, but because I live close kind of to the National, I was able to extend a little bit on Sunday and do the show. But I'll get into that in a little bit. I wrote notes down so I stay organized. I know usually my videos are a little more sporadic and kind of off the cuff, but this I want to stay a little more focused. So we'll see how it goes. So Wednesday I arrived, got in kind of like mid-afternoon, like early afternoon, a little later than I wanted to. But I had to get over to the convention center from the hotel and just had to take Ubers and rely on public transit to do that because the hotel I was staying at was not in walking distance from the convention center, which was a bummer, but I can't complain about the accommodations. Um, I will say, so I had to go get my VIP badge. What's funny is I made this comment to some people there. My badge has a refractor line, and so I think it would only probably get like a PSA 8. PSA grades these now. Um, so if I ever want to get my VIP pass graded, it wouldn't do very well. All kidding aside, very bad jokes. Huge lines to get in and get VIP passes. This is my 10th national, and I have not seen lines this long ever, even last year. So that was a surprise. Um, Another surprise was a lot of newbies. You can kind of just tell when you've been to a lot of these shows, people who've been there and done that, and people who've just kind of entered the hobby or at the show for the first time, and they don't have a lot of guidance. Kind of different from those who are at the show for the first time and have guidance and have a plan, have people. So a lot of people who have probably only been to there for the first time, or maybe this is their second national or first big show or first card show in 20 years. But I think that's good. Like the more people in, the better. But I think like the quality of the individual in the hobby also matters. That's just my opinion. So I finally got into the show. Uh, Quickly found Andy. She blinded me with refractors, and Andrew, Nuff said cards. Um, and I think maybe Ben Dead Guy Cardboard was there, but I'm not 100% sure. But the three or four of us were walking around a little bit. And within the first half an hour that I was there, we had stopped at a table with some pre-war with some vintage. Andrew pointed this out to me, and I couldn't believe what I was looking at. Um, One of those times where you are more than happy to pay sticker, and I paid $185. Obviously, this is not. Maybe I can hit the light just for a little. This was not graded when I bought it; it was just raw. But it's 1934 to 35 Tigers team composite postcard, and Hank is right here. Um, I had I have this is my third one now, and what's funny is kind of just the price I paid for this and how amazing in condition this is. Um, I paid $185 for this postcard, and it's graded a 2, but that's just because there's some sporadic staining on the postcard. It is not used. It is in really fantastic condition, and this happens to be a very, very rare postcard. So I was through the moon, and hey, Yannick, just going over my national recap. So I was over the moon. I found something for my PC a half hour into the show. It was really inexpensive and cheap. And what's funny is that I paid more for the other 2 that I had, but they're in lesser condition than this. So can't complain about that at all. It was just a fantastic find. The other goal was to find Eric for Leaf Cards and his crew. Eric wanted to take a look at the Jackie Robinson exhibit that I had in person, so I brought that with me there. We ended up doing a deal. You can find that info on his channel for Leaf Cards. And it was great to see Eric again. I also took part, that was the next day. Yeah, I think that was the next day. I took part in his $5 challenge, which was really fun. And I look forward to the opportunity to do that again. But the show was short on Wednesday, and I didn't really, there was nothing really to do afterwards within the community that I was involved with, at least. So I went back to the hotel and hung out. The guy who I was with was gambling, so I went to watch him gamble. I didn't spend any money in the casino, which was fine. Thursday comes, and I'm up early to get to the show right at 9:30 when VIPs can enter. Just another huge line, full of people, is unbelievable. They had us in like the VIP lounge, kind of like wrapped around the entire room there, which was quite big. And it was like a bottleneck of people like trying to get through a really small doorway into the show and kind of disperse from there. That was really like my day to walk around and buy, because the following days, Friday and Saturday, I was set up at a table, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So after the success on Wednesday, I kind of shifted my focus away from PC stuff, and then Thursday looked for more inventory. So I can show this card. Oh man, 1947 Tip Top Bread Phil Rizzuto rookie card. Obviously not graded when I bought it. Got it for $60, which I thought was a screaming deal, because I had bought that golden lot, and there was one in there, and so I became familiar with this card. There is a crease that kind of runs across his neck here, which is the reason for the grade, which is fine. These are hard cards to find, so I was really happy about that. I also found. I'm not going to turn the light on. We all know what this card looks like. Thurman Munson 71 Topps. Bought that from, I think, Batter's Box, Shoebox, something like that. Some box for $20. It's in VG condition. So yeah, you can't go wrong with a Thurman Munson 71 Topps for $20. But walked around while I was doing that. I was walking around with John Talking Ball Cards, John Paparossi, and George Dominiard Sports Cards, 2 guys who I'd never met before, but I'm huge fans of them and huge fans of their channels, and just had a really great time walking the show and talking with them and kind of peeking in on the things that they were buying. John was on a tear. George picked out an excellent Red Heart mantle that he showed in his video. Just has, both of them just have really good eyes, and it was fun to walk around and look at the things that they were buying, and was exciting to to be part of also their first time at the National, their experience, and I would help them with introducing them to dealers who I knew or set up with before, different shows in the area. So just a great time with them. So we got lunch. We got some tall boys to walk around the show with a little bit, and while we were waiting in line, this is just speaking to the kind of character that this individual has. John had a bunch of I'll call PSA misses from his most recent submission. He details that in his video, and he would spot a youngster, a young boy, a young girl, a young collector, a young fan. You know, if they were wearing a certain uniform of a player or a team, he'd be like, "Hey, do you like?" This is what he would do. Like, actually, what he would do first is he would ask the he'd ask the parent if he could give their child a free card, and the parent was always like, "Yeah, of course." And so he would then direct his attention back to the youngster and say, "Hey, do you like the 49ers?" Wearing a 49ers jersey or whatever. And they would be like, "Yeah." And he'd be like, "Do you know who Joe Montana is?" And then be like, "Of course. Yeah, no, I know Joe Montana." So he whips out like this PSA 5 second year sticker and gives it to them. And the look on their face to get a free PSA card was really cool. It was like he was giving them like $100 bill, even though the card was maybe a $10 card, if that. But to see the way that he interacted with youngsters, just a really good guy, and was really good to see and really fun to watch. You know, the parents were so appreciative and so thankful, and so were the kids. Every kid had really good manners, and were really appreciative of the gesture that John made. So that was really fun to bear witness to. So, and then later in the day, picked up a pretty cool card. I ran into a dealer who I bought cards from in an online auction that he runs, and shopped with him a little bit. I actually bought two things from him. I bought a BF3 felt pennant of Hank Greenberg. I got it for $50, and I was pretty certain that I needed it for my collection, but I bumped into Sean, I guess Wednesday, also at the show, after the show, like waiting to kind of like get going, and then bumped into him after on Thursday, and he was like, "Well, why don't I just give you $100 so I can add to my collection?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?" That was a nice gesture of Sean to make that offer, and it was good to see Sean, fellow collector, fellow Greenberg collector, there and share time with him. Wish I could have had more, but he's a busy guy. Anyway, also from that dealer, I found this really great. You're not going to really be able to see it that well because my lighting in here is not great. I'm filming this like in the evening. But this is a 53 Canadian exhibit of Ted Williams. And if you can see down there next to his foot, there's a little number 30. That's the card number, and that's how you kind of differentiate between the it still does say made in USA, but this is a Canadian exhibit from 53, and they came in two variations, a red tint, which this is, and a green tint. But the card number is what differentiates the American version from the Canadian version. So I bought that for $125, I think. That'll be in my next SGC order. I think it's really sharp and really cool. So excited to see how that does. So then Friday I shared table space with a friend of mine that I've been to shows with before. And man, it's so fun. I only had one display case, and but it was really fun working that table with him and his business partner. I feel like if they were busy and people had questions, they can ask me and I can help them. It was all just really fluid and it worked really well and had so much fun. Let me think. Guys who stopped by, the crew of Dave's Midlife Card Crisis, Mike O, Jake, Reindeer Studios, Scott, James Elite Hunters, Lou, John Mangini, Mike from Junk Wax Hero. I think he's out by on Friday or Saturday, one of the two. Some other guys, Andrew for a little bit, Andy, Tony, I'm not sure he or has YouTube videos, or he doesn't, I know, but maybe he watches some. Oh boy, who else? Might be it. I know John was there. So was George, obviously. I think that may have been kind of it. So that was an experience. Like, wow. Not many people can say that they have set up at a national, and this is only my second full year of doing. Yeah, but you didn't stop by the table. I was getting to you, Mike. Mr. Dove is commenting here, which is fine. And people don't have to stop by, but it was cool to see people, and was fun to. I don't think you did. It was cool to see people. Mike Bake State Breakers, Chris, Cardi C, Amit. You gave me that card at the end of the day. You're interrupting me. Phil, Josh rated rookie, although I saw him later. Actually, no, he stopped by. Josh rated rookie. So a lot of guys. And I'm, again, sorry if I miss people. So I think that was Friday. Friday also was a get together, Friday was a get together at the Claridge Hotel, which was really fun on the rooftop. But I felt exhaustion on Thursday and Friday like I had not felt in a long time. So they were not late nights for me. But that's what I kind of just needed. I needed to kind of stay focused and be able to be functional and be aware and be myself in the show space. So that was that Saturday. Rudog eventually came over to the table and sold me some awesome Clementes. He sold me 4 cards, a sharp, and they're all very sharp. 63 Fleer, 61 and 67 tops. He also has 73 tops that I've sold since, so I don't have that with me. But had a really nice time talking with him. Then Saturday was a slow day for me at the table, but I was able to kind of walk around and facilitate some business at dealers then. And then toward the end of the day, another dealer came and pretty much cleaned me out of all of my pre-war stuff. He did leave some things, but most of the better pre-war cards he grabbed, which was cool. That was a nice cash influx and injection there. Then Saturday evening, went to the Misfits group. So that's George, Bob, Scott. Scott was there with Eric, James. I said George, John, Lou, Don Field of Dreams. See, the more I think, the more I come up with people. And we hung out. We shot the shit. It was really cool. Had a great convo with Rick Vintage Oddball Cards. Saw the amazing woodcut that Scott made for George. Just pretty incredible the amount of detail that went into that. So that was a really fun night. And another somewhat early night. I know those guys can stay up late, party hard, and that was great. Sunday comes around, and that's the day for me to run errands. So I had dropped off my Tip Top Red Warren Spawn to PC Sports Cards for PSA to do by the end of the show, and so I was kind of like waiting around to do that. Ran into Eric, Those Back Pages, who is the national staple. I think he and I have been to maybe within the community the most nationals. If someone's been to more, please let me know. But it's always, you have a national convention and you see Eric, obviously. And I was around when Josh bought his Wayne Gretzky, which was really cool. Finally had some time to walk around with Andrew, Nuff Said Cards. We had kind of been like ship sailing in the night. The show was so big that it was just so hard to run into people. Oh my God, I completely forgot. Dom Staven Sports, he stopped by many times, bought a lot of cards for me. Sorry, Dom. And it was just fun to walk with Andrew. But as I was walking, I began to realize that there were things that, because I knew I had asked dealers if they had, Greenberg stuff or whatever, because I had a lot of money in my pocket and I wanted to spend it on maybe one more card or two more cards for myself. And I kind of realized that in setting up, I missed a lot of opportunities to buy cards. And that's kind of the sacrifice that I chose to make, and the balance that I have to keep with, doing this full time. I knew that it wouldn't be a huge buying show for me. And I know of, at least 3 cards that if I had seen them at the show, I would have bought them, but I didn't. And so I couldn't, because they were gone by the time I tried to get them. So that just kind of is what it is. I needed to be there and sell, and I did. And I did well. I did really well selling. I'm not going to take that for granted, but if I could be in 2 places at once, I would be behind the table and also walking the floor, but it's just not possible. So that was that. I dropped off my consignment with Leland's. I consigned like 6 signed vintage cards. Those are really cool. I'll once they are on and going, I'll do a video about those and that process. Dropped off a PSA order, dropped off my SGC submission, which I can show here now. So we know the Rizzuto. Oh, by the way, the Spawn got a PSA 2.5, which happens to be the highest graded Spawn Tip Top Red there, and I've since sold it. Did well on that card, which was great. So dropped off my SGC order. It was good to see those guys. Didn't spend a lot of time at the booth, but they didn't have a ton of people there, but people were submitting, people were working. So I needed to get my Gehrig reholdered, and I didn't want to really put it in the mail, so I brought it with me to the show. I got my Greenberg Goudy reholdered, which I've shown here before. Cy Young, this is a Sovereign. Got the 1, which was expected. John McGraw, glove on hip. Also a Sovereign. Got the 1. Was expecting a 1.5, but that's okay. And then Dizzy Dean got a 2.5, which I was surprised about, but there's a kind of like indentation toward the top right corner, which I see now in the grade, makes sense. Still a gorgeous card. So I just got the SGC order back today, so that's the whole reason for the video. It'd be funny if I did the entire video and didn't even show the cards. So that was that. The Greenberg Reholder was a PSA 3. If you watch George's video toward the end, that is one of the cards that he showed. I still have it in my safe. Not a lot of people know Brian's actually a paid actor for the Real Card Soup. May the Real Card Soup please stand up. Anyway, just overall thoughts of the show. The show space itself was humongous. I think there were like 28 aisles. It felt like if you only had a day or two, it was just not enough time to do the entire show, unless you were really moving really quickly and passing a lot of tables. In years past, the National did a good job of grouping, vintage tables and dealers in one section, and modern. Oh, Max is being a funny guy. Vintage tables in one section, modern tables in another section, and kind of differentiate. That wasn't the case here in the show. So this show is different because of that. And also, I think dealers have expanded. And I mean, Andrew said that he bought his 48 Leaf from Mealy Pops, which is predominantly a modern dealer. Huge presence, obviously, but modern dealer. And so you just never know what people have these days. And just not like other nationals that I've done. There was a lot of commotion around the corporate space, a lot of noise around there. Obviously, the internet was bad and challenge. I actually was able to get on and stay on Wi-Fi Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Don't know how or why. Didn't pay for it. Not sure. But so thankful for that. I was able to use VCP, eBay, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I mean, what a time. I mean, there were a lot of people from the community that did not go to the show, maybe because of location or other personal reasons. I was afraid that it just wouldn't quite be the same, and maybe it wasn't, but it was still an excellent show, and was so happy that I went. And just a great group of people in this community, and it's always an amazing time at the National, no matter who you spend your time with. And it's something that I don't intend on missing. And if there's an extenuating circumstance that prevents me from going, that's one thing, obviously, but it's not something that I intend to miss. Picker Jim S., Baseball Collector Mike, obviously, two other guys that I met, corresponded with, the whole 9 yards. See, as I go, I just keep thinking about more people. Vintage Sanctuary I met, has a cool channel, picked up some great cards. I think that may be all I can think of. But I have no more notes. Have to get my Greenberg, my signed 35 Gaudy Greenberg back from PSA. It's been in the shipping stage for the last 7 or 8 days without a tracking number, so I can't see the grade or the scan, which is quite annoying. But what can you do? So that is my National. I do have a lot of really cool stuff coming in. So stay tuned. I'll do a video showing that stuff off. It's going to be really fun, both from REA and Love of the Game. Been busy boy buying and auctions. And that's it. Had an awesome time. Gonna sneak it right under 30 minutes here, and can't wait for the next one. Atlantic City was a really fun show, but Chicago's going to be a killer, I think. So can't wait. And thanks, guys, for watching. Really appreciate your time. And sorry I came up so late, but we made it. Cool. Here we are. All right, bye.